Welcome into NBA Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. The trade deadline is in the books. A couple of players will still sign on the buyout market, but it is time to give you guys a fresh batch of power rankings. Let's start with the Timberwolves. They stink. They're rebuilding for next year. They did not trade away any of their young core. Number 29, the Detroit Pistons traded away a couple of minor pieces, kept Jeremy Grant. They're in a major rebuild as well. The Houston Rockets became sellers. They sent out Victor Oladipo and some other players. It's time to turn the page for a new era of Rockets basketball. And then the Orlando Magic at number 27, the biggest sellers of the trade deadline. Vucevic, Gordon, Fournier, they're all out. Orlando shifting to a youth movement. At number 26, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have some nice young pieces. Andre Drummond agreed to a buyout, and I've got them at number 26. I think they've got some nice young pieces for the future, but they're definitely not going to be contending anytime soon. Who will get the number one pick this year? Obviously, it comes down to a ping-pong lottery system, but right now the Timberwolves have the worst record in the NBA, so they would have the best odds. Let us know, who do you guys think will get the number one pick in 2021? Let's go to our next five teams here. The Oklahoma City Thunder, I think they've overachieved some this year. Look for them to fall back to earth toward the back part of the season. At number 24, Toronto, just won the finals a couple of years ago. I think they should have traded Kyle Lowry, but we saw them send out Norman Powell. I think you're going to see this team lose some games down the stretch like they have been recently. Let me ask you this question. Do you guys think the Raptors should have traded Kyle Lowry away? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I definitely think they should have. I think you should get what you can while you can because he's a free agent after this year. Thought that was a missed opportunity. Get your votes in, Y for yes or in for no. The Washington Wizards at number 23, they started off very, very slow, played a little better. They've kind of been skidding again. We'll see if they make a push for a top 10 seed in the Eastern Conference on the outside looking in as of now. The Sacramento Kings, I'm not really sure what they're doing. They traded for DeLon Wright. Why? I don't really know. They're like the 11th seed in the West. Interesting young players. They held on to Harrison Barnes. We'll see how they finish this season. At number 21, the Indiana Pacers, Malcolm Brogdon, Miles Turner, Domantas Sabonis, all linked to trade rumors, but none of them ended up getting shipped out. I like how Karis LeVert is playing now that he's healthy. We'll see how they finish the rest of this season. Get subscribed to Chat Sports, more NBA videos throughout the 2021 NBA season. Just because the trade deadline is over does not mean we're going to stop plugging out videos just for you guys. Hit that subscribe button. You see the link below. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Top 20 here. Let's go to the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson playing really well. He's an all-star. They kept Lonzo Ball at the trade deadline. I think they can make a push to get in that play-in tournament in the Western Conference. At number 19, the Atlanta Hawks. Weird, interesting move to add Lemon Pepper Lou at the trade deadline. They ship out Rajon Rondo. Similar style team in the East as the New Orleans Pelicans are in the West, led by Trae Young. So who's the better player? Two young sensations in the league right now, Zion Williamson, Trae Young. Get your votes in. Type W for Zion Williamson. Type Y for Trae Young. Depends on what your flavor is, but go ahead and get your votes in. At number 18, the Charlotte Hornets. I feel bad for LaMelo Ball, who broke his wrist. Maybe he gets back at the very end of the season for a potential playoff run, but this will be an exciting team in the future. The Golden State Warriors at number 17, very quiet at the trade deadline. They shipped out Brad Wanamaker, Marquise Chris. Who cares? They were not buyers. I had them at number 17. They'll be fighting for a playoff spot, but they didn't do much to help their team. At number 16, the San Antonio Spurs. They were overachieving for a large part of the first half of the season. They've fallen back to earth a little bit. They bought out LaMarcus Aldridge. I think they might make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to make much noise. Top 15 we go. The New York Knicks, one of the surprising teams in the NBA. Julius Randle's a legitimate all-star. RJ Barrett is improving as a young player. Derrick Rose was a nice pickup a couple of weeks ago. I think they make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. At number 14, the Memphis Grizzlies, really talented young team. You got Ja Morant, you got Dylan Brooks. Can Jaren Jackson Jr. get healthy and stay healthy? We'll have to wait and see. At number 13, the Chicago Bulls. Man, oh man, we'll take a little longer on them here. They were big winners at the NBA trade deadline by adding Nikola Vucevic. You also get Al-Farouq Aminu. They ended up with Daniel Tice as well. They sent out Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter, and a couple of firsts, but you bring in a legitimate all-star in Vucevic as a part of that lineup with Zach LaVine. I think this team makes a run. I think they make the playoffs out of the Eastern Conference. At number 12, the Boston Celtics. I thought they should have added a big like a Nikola Vucevic, but you get Evan Fournier. I think he will help. They've been, fringe playoff team so far. I think they'll play better toward the final push of the season. Before we get to the top 10, the Dallas Mavericks at number 11. They've played really well after a slow start. They got hit hard with COVID early. They were out with 5 rotation players for a couple of weeks. Luka was a little out of shape early on, but he's playing like an MVP, and Porzingis is playing well also. And they added J.J. Redick at the trade deadline. I thought this was a good move for Dallas. They gave up 2 guys that had kind of been forced out of the rotation, and James Johnson and Wes Iwundu. You send out a second-round pick. Who cares? I think J.J. Redick is an instant influential player in this Mavericks rotation. I think he'll make some big shots for this team down the stretch. Which team improved the most at the NBA trade deadline? I want to hear it from you guys in the comment section. Mavs got better, Bulls got better, Nuggets got better. Let me know which team improved more than anyone else at the trade deadline. Let's go into the top 10 here. The Portland Trail Blazers at number 10. Dame Dalla has been lighting it up. CJ McCollum just had a huge game the other night. And they added Norman Powell, who's been red hot in the month of March. I like this trade for Portland. You lose Gary Trent, who's a nice young developmental piece, but I think Powell is a really good player, underrated defender as well. I think the Trail Blazers got better. They're a legitimate team in the Western Conference. Another team that improved at the trade deadline, that's the Denver Nuggets. Big fans of what they did at the deadline as well. You add Aaron Gordon, you get Gary Clark in this trade as well. The loss of Gary Harris is notable, but you outweigh that with Gordon right there. Sure, you punt on a young, promising player in R.J. Hampton, but you're trying to win now if you're Denver. I like that trade. Plus, sneaky move they made as well, JaVale McGee. I think he'll help their depth at the center position. At number 8, the Phoenix Suns, who were quiet at the deadline, but I think the addition of Chris Paul has been obvious. He has been fantastic. Devin Booker is a legitimate top 5, top 7 scorer in the NBA, and you got DeAndre Ayton. You got some pieces there. I like Monty Williams leading the ship there as the head coach as well. I got Phoenix at number 8. At number 7, the Miami Heat. One of the bigger winners at the trade deadline. You add Nemanja Bjelica, but also about 10 minutes after the deadline, it was reported that they traded for Victor Oladipo. And to only give up Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk and a future draft swap for Victor Oladipo, that is a huge win for the Heat and a huge loss for the Rockets, in my opinion. I think this will help Miami tremendously down the stretch. At number 6, the Philadelphia 76ers. They bowed out of the Kyle Lowry sweepstakes, as everyone did, as he did not get traded, but I like the George Hill addition. Once Joel Embiid gets back, this is a major force in the Eastern Conference. Let's go into the top 5 here. The Los Angeles Clippers. Not a lot of movement. I thought this was kind of a bizarre trade, but Rajon Rondo has been proven to be a big-time playoff performer. He was a big piece in the Lakers run this past year, but Lou Williams has been a nice scorer off that bench. I get it, Lemon Pepper Lou has fallen back this year, but it's a bit of a gamble if you ask me, but they did need a facilitator, and that is something that Rajon Rondo will provide for the Clippers. Now, who is the better team out in Los Angeles? Type C for the Clippers, type L for the Lakers. I want to hear it from you guys. Get your C's in, get your L's in. Which team in LA is the better team? We'll go to the top 4 now. The Milwaukee Bucks at number 4. Didn't do much. You add P.J. Tucker a week or two before the deadline. Big fan of that move. Toughness, reliability, and defense. That's what he will provide. Oh, and the Bucks all of a sudden, they've won 8 games in a row. The Utah Jazz are at number 3 here. Quiet at the deadline, but they're just steady Eddie, man. Best record in the NBA right now. We'll see if that translates to the playoffs, but Mike Conley's been good this year. We know Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, what they bring to the table, and the depth is the name of the game with Utah. I've got them at number 3. I've got the Lakers at number 2. Now, this is the caveat that LeBron and AD are healthy come playoff time. Obviously, if one or both of those guys is out, that's a different story, but I think at full strength, this Lakers team is deep and it's talented, and you got 2 top 5 players in the league. I kind of wish they would have traded for Kyle Lowry. Apparently, they were very, very close in doing so. And at number 1, I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets. Look, they got the 4th or 5th best record in the NBA, but James Harden has been playing like an MVP level without Kevin Durant. Once he comes back and gets into the lineup for Brooklyn, I just find it hard to believe that teams are going to be able to run with them outside of maybe the Lakers and a couple of others with Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. And, they added Blake Griffin as well. So this Nets team is loaded from top to bottom. So there you have it. Those are my post-trade deadline power rankings, 30 all the way down to 1. Going to be a fun final push as we get closer and closer to the NBA playoffs. Get your votes in on this one. Best team in the NBA. Go ahead and let me know, and we'll see you next time.